77, 78, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So let me show you right now of some brief clips from that. We can roll that now.
134.4. 344, what's this? Aries 31 has traffic 2 o'clock, slightly above and descending.
Aries 31, can you say aircraft type?
Negative, Center. No distinct outline. To tell you the truth, the target is rather brilliant. It's the brightest any collision lights I think I've ever seen. Alternating white to red. Colors are a little striking. Wait a second. Stand by one. Okay, Center. Aries 31, the traffic is turned. He's heading right for my windshield. We're turning right immediately and leaving flight level 350 now.
Aries 31, descend, maintain flight level 310. Great, Allegheny 444, turn right 30 degrees.
Get on the order to the 45th recon way. See what the hell they could be testing up there.
The traffic is approaching head on, ultra bright, and really moving. They're right by us right now.
Do you want to report officially? EWA 517, do you want to report a UFO? Over. EWA 517, do you want to report a UFO? Over.
4 down, 5-8 to altitude.
Some brief excerpts from Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and to comment on that film, a man who well, what can I say, who has won every science fiction award there is, but does not describe himself as a science fiction writer, but rather as a fantasist, the author of what connoisseurs of the genre say are really the best of the Star Trek, many other things, television critic for the Los Angeles Free Press. I can spend the rest of the show introducing
You missed
Harlan
terrific
Ellison.
human being, snappy dresser, good dancer.
No, I didn't. I know about your dancing, but I'm not so sure about whether you're a terrific human being.
Can I tell you a story about Flo and Eddie?
Yeah.
We're in London together. We didn't go together. It just happened we wound up there. They moved into the Portobello Hotel, which is this very quiet, nice little on-team hotel with 187,000 pounds of speakers and amps, and they're up in the roof tower thing. And I was there in a quiet little room. 1:30 in the morning, these two turkeys are playing rock, bad rock, at 180 decibels, which is blasting out across Stanley Gardens, this quiet, nice little middle-class area, hitting the buildings on the other side and spewing out for 8 miles all through Kensington. I'm downstairs to find out where the noise is coming from. They tell me it's the turkeys up there. I said it had to be, and I knew.
The turtles up there.
The turtles up there. At that moment, in come the police. We are talking now heavyweight armament. Come the bobbies. Who's making that rousy stutting noise up there? We're going to kill. I run up the stairs in my bathrobe, 11 flights to their tower, burst into their room, say, excuse me, unplug their stereo, and run away quickly before they're incarcerated. They have never let me forget the fact that I unplugged their stereo at 1 in the morning.
Did you say anything to them?
Goodbye.
Not the police are downstairs or anything?
I should tell them the police will let them get out of trouble themselves.
You are a terrific human being, Harlan. Now, Close Encounters of the third kind.
Of the third kind, yes.
How does it rate as a science fiction movie or a fantasy movie or a movie?
Well, it's a nice little 1950s flying saucer flick. Except it missed one. It doesn't have Klaatu Barada Nikto Gort. I missed that. It's the same story, man. It's the same story. It's this saucer comes down, and these wonderful mystical aliens are going to save us from self-destruction and give us the wisdom of the galaxy. It's all that good Jesus saves jive. You know, that's what it is.
Except that Jesus becomes creatures from outer space?
Yeah, it's the same. See, they recycled the baby from 2001.
Yeah.
Did you ever, it amazes me and delights me, too, that invariably the people who are captured by saucers and taken away, right, and they come back and they give us the message. And the message is always the same one Moses got. You know, don't hit each other, be nice, you know. I like it when George Burns says it. I don't care that much when I hear it from strange little creatures who look like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
You are not a fan of the most discussed movie of 1978?
No, I don't dislike it quite as much as Star Wars, which is the pits. Would you like me to attack any other of your sacred cows? There are several things in both these movies that distress the hell out of me. And one of them is the spread of illogic and irrationality in our time. I mean, the first thing anybody says to you in a singles bar is, what's your sign? You know, I mean, they're in it. And everybody believes in crazed assassination conspiracies, and they believe in Bermuda Triangles and Scientology and you know, all of that stuff that's just not real, and flying saucers is another one. And it seems to me that the more movies you put out and the more books you put out that say we are such puny, miserable, wretched little creatures who cannot solve our problems, we need an intergalactic Ralph Nader to come and save our asses, it seems to me makes people feel a lot less than what they can be. You're laughing. Don't laugh.
One of the reasons I'm laughing is because you are, as always, a constantly amusing talker. The other is that I'm thinking that I'm hearing a denunciation of the whole art of fantasy writing, because I know you do not like the word science fiction.
But not so, mon frere. That's not the case at all. Fantasy, as opposed to space opera, which is what Star Wars is, and Close Encounters slightly less, but fantasy is something that should ideally serve to illuminate the human condition. You take a contemporary problem, alienation, paranoia, whatever, and by reflecting it in the mirror of fantasy, you say allegorically, here's what's really happening. Look at it from a different view. Wake up, be alert. That's what fantasy does. That's what it's always done. It's the oldest form of writing in the world. I mean, the legend of Gilgamesh is the first writing we ever found, Sumerian, I believe, and that was a fantasy. But these kind of films do not do that. It seems to me that they distance people from the real world. Am I going too fast for you?
No, because I'm sitting here thinking that we were talking during a commercial break, and Lorraine Newman said that you really like Close Encounters a great deal.
I love Close Encounters, and I'd like to know where you got the implication that the aliens came as judgmental saviors to show the humans the error of their ways. I never got that from the movie. I thought it was totally objective in that sense, and that it was really a conveyance of ideas, you know, and that the joy of their final communication through music, of all things, was such a strong emotional thing to convey, you know, and actually made me cry, you know.
God, Lorraine, I just don't even know how to respond to that. But then you see, I'm the kind of guy who laughed when Bambi's mother got it. Let me put it this way: when I see a film in which there is a messianic halo around the aliens emerging, you know, and a child shall lead them, all of these interesting biblical and Judeo-Christian undertones, which are there. I mean, they're all subtext, and people get fed them without really realizing it. I mean, here is this child who is the one, you know, he goes out, and he's the one who gets taken by them because he's a child. A child shall lead us, and here come the aliens. And what do they do when they come here? Do they exchange wisdom with us? Do they do anything? No, they go and they capture Ambrose Bierce in Mexico and a couple of people out of the Bermuda Triangle and schlep them off God knows where. And
But they do exchange knowledge. That's the whole thing. And the child was, that was part of, it was like a foreign exchange thing. I mean, why
they sent back a bunch of lobotomized pilots, and that was their exchange?
Well, you would appear pretty lobotomized if you would all of a sudden appeared in another decade. All of a sudden it was World War II, and hey, that's a strange-looking tie you got on. I've never seen a tie like that.
Well, what were they doing on the ship? I mean, with all those years, were they?
Look, there were people from the medieval times. I mean, it wasn't only children who were on.
Yeah, but they hadn't aged. They hadn't aged. What did they do? Freeze them in a cryogenic crypt or something?
Hey, I don't know what they got up there. I mean, I don't know how they managed to not age the people. But
I have a little difficulty figuring out what we got on down here.
Why is it so important to take that movie and look at it for the symbolism and the meaning and the allegory and everything? Why don't you just say it's a hell of a nice story and I had a good time?
We need entertainment.
Yeah.
We need to get away.
Well, what is wrong with that?
Okay, I'll tell you what's wrong with that. See, I'm not
Am I going too fast?
No, you're going just right. You're going just right. See, I tend to be a very happy-go-lucky schlob, and I don't really like to think negative thoughts. I mean, I go to see Oh God, and I laugh my tuchus off. I mean, I really enjoyed that film. I saw it 4 times, okay?
okay.
Didn't care for that one.
No.
How about Bambi? Did you get behind Bambi? I see something very, very sad going on in the world as a whole. And what it is we talk about, well, we really need some entertainment. You come home, you turn on the tube, and there's a documentary on rape. Oh, wow, can't handle that, man. You turn on a rerun of Gilligan's Island. And everybody is constantly doing that. Now, I need a little relaxation. We spend 90% of our day in an incredible lemming-like pursuit of entertainment, whether it's the tube, or it's silly movies, or it's cheap novels, or it's fast sex, or it's booze, or dope, or religion, whatever it is. We're constantly escaping. We're constantly running away. God forbid we should deal with the real world as it is perceived. Okay? That seems to me to be a frightening thing. We live in incredibly complex times. The information load that is put on us daily is amazing. And yet everybody distanced themselves. Everybody is put back one remove. And then they can't understand why they go crazy. They can't understand why they can't cope.
But you're turning the whole thing or the whole consumption of anything from television, movies, books, or whatever into an either-or.
No. I'm saying...
Sure you are. You're saying that you can't read the Globe and Mail or the Vancouver Sun or whatever. You can't look at television documentaries and heavy things and think heavy thoughts and look at documentaries on rape and worry about that and get all upset about that, and then go home and watch a piece of junk on television or
I'm not saying that at all. I didn't
read
think
a
I was
nice
saying
Harlan Ellison novel or something just to maybe to get away from it for a little while. You cannot stand there. You're going to go crazy if you're under a constant.
That's the point. Everybody is getting away from it constantly getting away from it.
But it's not either or. You can take all the heavy stuff, and from time to time you need a little leaven.
Sure, if people do and would take the heavy stuff, but they don't. They don't. I mean, the evidence is, it doesn't come out of my mouth. There are studies on alienation, on disorientation of people that is incredible. They say to us that we are becoming more and more distanced from one another every year. It's what they call an asymptotic curve. It goes up and up. And so we spend our time constantly trying to get away and escape. That's the fact.
But it's still it's a necessary element of life, and you're one of the perpetrators of
There's nothing relaxing about my stories. Nothing at all. You don't get any reassurance from my stories at all.
You don't get any reassurance from it, but you sometimes have a great deal of fun.
Occasionally, yeah. I'm not against fun. I resent the fact that the word entertainment, which meant gathering together originally, has been changed to be synonymous with mindless. Entertainment now can only be a Harold Robbins novel, can only be a film like Star Wars. It can't be reading Kafka. It can't be Shakespeare.
Who says?
Who says? They say, the ones who watch Starsky and Hutch. That ain't entertainment anymore.
But I watch Starsky and Hutch. Got a nice Polish boy in it. Why shouldn't I watch
your floor director
why
crazy?
Shouldn't no, but if I watch Starsky and Hutch, it doesn't mean that afterwards I can't go and read Kafka, if you will. Well, I don't see why you've got to have it all one way or the other.
You lead me to an elitist statement.
You are an elitist.
That's your sweet ass. Most of the people who sit and watch the tube for 6, 7, 8 hours a day would much rather watch Starsky and Hutch than they would Shakespeare. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily good or bad for those people. I just think
But you are, Harlan. You're saying it's
you might have
bad.
found the rest of that sentence interesting.
I will get to hear it, I am certain.
Nah, forget it. I'm going to keep that one for myself.
Oh, yeah? Keep going.
You asked me what I thought of the silly movie. I told you. Down comes a big galactic chandelier. Right? And a lot of people look at it, and out comes, you know, the Pillsbury Doughboy, and he says, and he takes him away. I saw that in 1950. It was terrific. They do it with more skill now. Steve Spielberg's a nice man. Ricky Dreyfuss is an old friend of mine. I think he's a fabulous actor. I wish the film didn't say some of the things it says any more than I wish Star Wars says some of the things it says.
What about Star Trek, with which you were involved? Whatever you say. Why do you deny Star Trek?
What do you mean deny? What is it, my lord? I'm denying my... Jeez, man, I wrote one lousy segment. Give me a break. Doesn't the statute of limitations run out?
You only wrote one segment of Star Trek?
A singular, one. Oh, Jesus. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Outpatient Clinic of the Menninger Foundation.
Are you sorry?
Am I sorry I wrote the Star Trek?
Yeah.
No, I'm not sorry I ever wrote anything I wrote. I did it with clean hands and composure. I'm sorry the way they did it. I mean, they butchered it, and that's, you know, the fact that I won, you know, a writing award for the original script version leads me to believe that I knew what I was doing.
Okay, let me pause briefly for a commercial return with Pat McCormick. We solve everyone's problem.